Hey guys, today's the day. I'm so excited. I get to learn how to stab myself, so that'll be fun. I don't know if it's going to be intramuscular or subcutaneous because I may just be too fat for intramuscular, but they gave me the stuff for intramuscular. But I'm hoping they'll be able to, let me get at least a shot today, even if I have to order, new equipment for next week. I'm crossing my fingers. Let's hope it works out. I'm so excited. I've been hyping myself up about this all weekend, and I am ready, and I'll let you guys know what happens. Guys, I got stuck. I mean, like, I got poked. I mean, I got stabbed. I got my tea. It was so easy. Like, it didn't hurt going in at all. It didn't have to be subcutaneous because they said that I have enough muscle. Like, I'm not too fat in my legs, which is what I was concerned about. And so there was this really cool nurse. She came in, she explained the whole thing to me. She showed me how to do it. She showed me how to conserve, like, my supplies and, like, make sure that I'm doing things as easy as possible. And she was really nice. And, like, I was so nervous, like, because they left for a while. They left and they were like, we need to make sure that you can do intramuscular, so let me talk to someone. And so they went to talk to someone, and that was like, they were gone for like 10 minutes. And I was like, are they not going to come back? Am I going to be stuck like this? Am I not going to be able to get my shot? I've been so afraid all day that I'm not going to be able to get my shot. Not going to stop till I get my shot. I got my shot. I'm so excited. I'm a little tired just because I've been working myself up and it finally happened, and now I'm like, I can breathe. I'm feeling good. I don't know if there's any, like, validity to the symptoms that I'm already experiencing or if it's just a placebo effect. It's probably the placebo effect. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, you guys. I'll tell you guys more about it when I get home. So, talk to you guys in a sec. Hey, y'all. So, it's the next morning. I was gonna keep you guys updated yesterday, but I got home and I was exhausted. Okay, like, I was so tired. I think it's because I had been holding in all this tension. I was, like, so afraid that I wasn't going to be able to get my shot, and I had stressed myself out. And then it happened and I could breathe, and I was just so tired. I barely was able to eat dinner. I had to go to sleep. I went to sleep at like 7:30. You guys, I'm an old man. But now I feel like a human being cuz I slept overnight. So I wanted to go through with you guys everything that happened when I got there. Okay. So, Gina's mom took me because Gina was not feeling well. She's been dealing with some IBS symptoms the last couple of days, and she felt so bad that she couldn't take me. But, like, it's not her fault that her stomach and intestines hate her. My stomach and intestines hate me too. I also had to deal with IBS, so I totally understood. But so her mom took me, and I got there, and it was a tiny little room. There were it was like the size of my room right now. It was a tiny room. There was a receptionist behind a window. I signed in. They only asked for my birthday and my last name. They did not ask for my dead name. They didn't ask for any first name. I thought that was really cool. They only asked for my birthday and my last name, and they asked to take the medication that I had brought because I had got my testosterone, I had gotten some needles and some syringes and some alcohol pads, and I had them all in a bag. And they were like, "Can we see that?" So I gave that to them. And then I sat down, and it was only like 2 minutes until they called me in. So they called me in. And when I sat down in the room, they had all of my materials spread out on the examination table. And I sat in the chair, and the first thing that happened is I asked them, "Look, I don't know if I'm too fat for intramuscular in the leg. I don't know if I have too much fat in my leg that the needle won't go down far enough, so I might have to do subcutaneous. What should I do about that?" And the nurse was like, "Let me talk to my supervising nurse, and we'll see what your options are. So she left the room, and she was gone, and she was gone, and I was working myself up like, oh my God, the longer they're gone, the worse it's going to be, right? Like, this is something that they can't actually do. So they're trying to figure out either how to break it to me or how to figure out how to do it in the meantime. And like, I was going through all this catastrophizing in my head, which I'm very good at. Someone should pay me for catastrophizing because I'm that good at it. But they came back. There was the head nurse. She was just a cool lady. I just thought she was cool. And she looked at me. She felt my leg. She was like, you're going to be fine. You don't have too much fat on your leg. You're good. And so she told the nurse's assistant to go, that the cool nurse would go through it with me, which was kind of fun. And she showed me mostly the same things that were happening in all the videos that I watched, because I did a lot of research on YouTube on how people were first giving their intramuscular shots, and I had a good idea of what was going to happen, and it was very similar. She showed me that, in fact, if I didn't want to use the 18 gauge, because I had an 18 gauge and a 23 gauge needle, the 18 gauge is for drawing up the T because it's a thicker needle and the testosterone is kind of thick. And then the 23 gauge is for injecting it into your body so that it doesn't cause as much damage and it doesn't hurt as bad. So she told me that I did not even have to use the 18 gauge, that I could just use the 23. I could replace, because the syringe came with the 18, so I take that off, put the 23 on, and I could draw up from the 23 gauge. And she told me that, like, it'll take a little longer because it's a smaller needle, but that way you don't end up losing as much testosterone when you switch the needles and like have to recheck the air bubbles and everything. She showed me, you draw up the air first, you put the air into the bottle, and then you draw up however much you need. And she showed me that, like, you can draw up more than you need because you're going to end up with some air to, like, you can go in and out with the plunger to make sure that you've gotten all the bubbles out and you've still gotten enough of the testosterone. And since I take 0.25 every week, the pharmacy had given me 3 milliliter syringes. They were a little bigger, and she was just like, there's not even a notch on those things for 0.25. Let me give you some 1 milliliters. So she grabbed some 1 milliliters, and she's like, these are in very short supply because I think it's because of the vaccine. She said something to do with COVID. She's like, I had been ordering a backlog. I had ordered a pack of 100, and it took a year to arrive. So she was like, these are in very short supply, so here's what you do to reuse them. Not the needles, but the syringes. She's like, wash them out with very, very hot water. You can use dish soap. Just make sure you get all the soap out and it's all rinsed out. You can reuse the syringes until your pharmacy has the ability to get you new syringes that are 1 milliliter. Because I could technically use the 3 milliliters, but there's no notch there. You have to, like, estimate the middle between 0 and 0.5. And I really would rather not do that. The pharmacy will continue to supply me with syringes. I probably need to specifically ask them for the 1 milliliters, and they might not have them in stock. So she showed me how to reuse them. She said it was fine. She says, don't worry about, you're doing it on yourself. You're not sharing anything. It's just going to be yourself. So there's no risk of cross-contamination. So she drew up the testosterone. She showed me how to do it. She told me, tap out the bubbles and push out the rest of the air, and then make sure that just one little drop comes out, because she's like, if you push out too much, you're going to end up, wasting your medication. So only do it till there's like one little bead coming out of the needle. And then she showed me to, like, grab my muscle like this, and that she's like, most of the time I have people start out in just the top of the leg, just the very top of the leg, and then if you become comfortable with that, you can do it on the side of the leg, but it's easier to go straight down than it is to go like this or like this, you know? And so I decided to just grab the top of my leg. So I grabbed that, and she's like, then you just take the needle and you hold it like a dart, and then you just tap it in. And guys, it wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought it was going to be. The needle is so thin, you guys, like so thin, a 23 gauge. I'm surprised that thing didn't break when it went through my skin. You know, it is so tiny, so skinny, and it did not hurt at all. I psyched myself up into it. It only took me like 15 seconds to psych myself up into it. And then I just 1, 2, 3, and I put it in, and I didn't feel it. I did not feel it. I saw it go in, and I didn't even feel it go in. It was great. Maybe I was just lucky and I didn't hit any nerves that time, but I'm going to remember that spot. I'm going to remember that spot. And she told me, and I don't want people to take this as gospel because I know that every other video that I've watched says to do this, but she said that I didn't have to do this, is you don't have to draw up a little bit to see if you have any blood. You don't have to do that, because if you're going to end up with blood in there, it's going to show up in the needle anyway. You will see it before or during, injection, that you don't actually need to draw up. And she's like, especially someplace like your leg, like the top of your leg, you're very small chance that you'll nick an important artery or a vein. And she said that we being nurses used to have to draw up for everything, for vaccines, for intramuscular injections, for everything. You had to draw up to see if there was any blood. And it wasn't as good of a, like a predictor of whether you've hit a vein. It's just something that you don't really need to do. So she's like, you can do it if you want, but you don't have to. And I might do it, I don't know. But she said if you do it, just draw it up very slightly, just very slightly. And so I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but don't take this as you don't have to do it. If your doctor tells you to do it, please do it. But she told me that I didn't have to do that. So she's like, once it's in, just start pushing it in. And it was more the pushing it in that made me more nervous, because what had happened when I get my antipsychotic injection is it's a really thick fluid. Like, it's almost like a cream, and they have to push that in with a really big needle, and it takes like 60 seconds to get the whole thing in. And I asked them to go slow, because if they push it in any faster, it feels like my muscle is exploding, like it hurts so bad. And so I was worried that the same thing was going to happen with the testosterone, that it was going to start stinging and like really, really hurt. And it stung a little, but it actually was kind of difficult to push the fluid in anyway, so I wasn't going that fast. I was going pretty slowly. It took maybe 20 seconds to get the whole thing in, and it was very, very, very little pain. I took the needle out straight up, and she told me to, use a cotton pad and put pressure on it. But the thing is, my wound was leaking. Like, clear fluid was coming out, like not just a couple drops, but like not a considerable amount, but like some of it came out. And she was like, that's normal. Your doctor has anticipated that that's what's going to happen. Like, I don't know. It looked like a lot, man. It looked like I only had 0.25 milliliters, and I feel like most of it came out, and I don't know, I worry about that. But she said it was normal and to not worry about it. She put a Band-Aid on it, and I mean, that was that. I signed up for a follow-up appointment. I have an appointment in 3 months. I have blood work 2 weeks before that to make sure that everything's going good. And then I just got sent home. It was great. Now, it has been 18 hours since I got stuck. And I don't know if I'm just paranoid, but I am not exhibiting any symptoms.
like, at all. No side effects. No effects at all. Like, I'm not extra hungry. I'm not hot. I'm not horny. I'm not full of energy. None of those things. I'm just normal. And I don't know if, like, I'm supposed to feel things this soon. I worry that, like, all of it came out of my body. Like, I'm going to be so much quicker next week when I'm going to have the Band-Aid ready. I'm going to, like, put it in. I'm going to put pressure on it. And, like, I'm going to be prepared to get the Band-Aid on and everything before it starts leaking out. And so maybe it'll be better next week. I don't know. I was seeing so many videos about people, like, I was getting these effects within, like, a couple of days. Like, I was getting lower irritation and, like, horniness and hunger and energy, like, in the first couple days, and it's been 18 hours and I'm not feeling anything. And I have the rest of my life to be on this. I'm going to be on this for the rest of my life, and it's like the first day, and I'm afraid that I'm not seeing any side effects. And I worry that, like, because my doctor was not really aware of my actual weight, because I never actually had seen him before this, like, what if he needed to give me more? What if 0.25 wasn't enough for my body mass? What about that? So am I not going to feel effects? Is it going to be like being on a low dose testosterone? I'm not going to find out what my T levels are until, like, 3 months from now. There's no way to know. I mean, maybe he took into account that I have polycystic ovary syndrome and I have a little bit of hypoandrogenism just because of the polycystic ovary syndrome. And so maybe he took that into account, but he didn't know my actual levels, and he's not going to know it until 3 months from now. And I have 3 months to keep taking more and to, like, get my technique down. And I guess I just worry that nothing is going to happen this week, or nothing is even going to start happening, because it all leaked out of my leg. And I know that's just me worrying. I know it's just me worrying about stuff that's probably not, important. But I still worry about it. But anyway, I came home. I was very tired. I was so exhausted. Came home, I had dinner, I passed out, and then I woke up this morning and I have no symptoms, no side effects, nothing. I just feel like myself, and I don't know, I'm a little disappointed, and I know that's probably not realistic, but I'm still a little disappointed. That doesn't mean that, like, in 2 days I won't start feeling things. It's very probable that in a couple of days maybe I'll start feeling actual side effects, or maybe it's just something that I have to wait for. Like anything, it's like when you start taking a new antidepressant, it doesn't start working in the first couple of days. You have to take it for weeks before you see any effects. So it's probably like that. I had gotten my hopes up from watching other people's videos and being like, oh, that's going to happen to me. Oh, I'm going to have side effects immediately. No, that didn't happen. So that was my experience. I will keep you guys up to date. I will show you my very first injection that I do myself. At least I will try to film that. I don't know if I can get my phone to, like, work in the bathroom like that, or if I'm going to have my roommate film it. I don't know. But next week I want to have a video of me injecting for the first time and talking about it. So I will keep you guys up to date on that. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing. I put out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. I will see you guys next time. Mwah. Editing Hoagie here with an update. I called the medical assistant at my clinic. I asked her the same questions that I had, like, hey, a bunch of fluid leaked out of my injection site, and I'm worried. Like, did
something happen? Like, did I not get my full dose? And she was like, not necessarily. Sometimes it can be serum from like your body. And even if it is, it's not the biggest deal because I have next week and then the next week and then the next week. And she said that if this does keep happening, though, to let her know, and she will put in a second prior authorization talking about how the injections aren't working and maybe they'll give me the gel. I don't really feel like I need that. I think I can get my technique down. I think I'll be fine. But she also said that if it could be the pressure of sitting down that's like putting pressure on the knee muscle that's pushing it back up. And so I might try it standing up, which is a good point. I never thought about trying it standing up. I've never seen anybody actually do that, but I want to give it a shot. And to try it standing up, the angle might be a little weird. I was thinking the angle could be weird, but do it that way. And then if it still leaks out, to contact them. And so that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, I just wanted to keep you guys updated on that, and I will talk to you guys later.